Welcome, hey, to the second day of the week. Welcome to Tuesday's show. Student of the Gun Radio. How you doing over there, kid?
I'm doing well.
You got
Just got done eating my food.
Your chicken and broccoli?
Chicken and broccoli.
Roscoe's Chicken. Did you stop at Roscoe's Chicken and Broccoli on the way here?
Roscoe, I don't even know what that is. Roscoe's Chicken.
Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles.
Chicken. Oh, chicken and waffles.
Yeah, man. Don't you remember? First it was going to be chili and donuts.
Yeah, that's right.
And then he changed it to chicken and waffles.
Roscoe's Chili and Donuts.
Chili and donuts not working out. I got to come up with a new idea. Speaking of new ideas, dude, bam, kapoom, pow, explosion. This is less than 24 hours old. According to Jeremy at American Association of Firearms Users, or AAFU, he's going to have adult-themed coffee mugs.
Oh.
According to Jeremy at the American Association of FU.com, if you go there and click on the store tab, which I'm doing right now as we are on the radio, I'm clicking on the store tab because it says, attention, we will now have adult-themed coffee mugs. And I'm scrolling. They see me scrolling. All right, come on, where is it?
It's there.
It's there.
He posted a link in the grad program.
There it is.
Facebook page.
It's a, it says because FU, that's why. It says it has the American Association of FU.
I wonder if he was able to get the middle finger on the bottom.
I'm kind of doubting that. Well, maybe. It has the American Association of FU, red, white, and blue logo, the bird with the red, white, and blue logo on the front, and on the back it says, because, beep, FU, that's why. All right.
That's my favorite hashtag.
So there you go, all you cats and kittens out there in the Student of the Gun listening audience. You need to know about that, and now you do. So you are welcome. You are welcome. And it is, I hope you enjoyed yesterday's show, the insanity of it all. And we got some more insanity. It's funny, Jared, when I drive into work in the morning, and it's a really short drive, but when I drive into work in the morning, I'm usually listening to those guys out of Houston, Texas. Senior Walton and Senior Johnson. And it's funny how often they will either cite a show that we've previously referenced on this one, or give me a good idea to go look something up and check and make sure that it's right.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing those guys need is they need some really serious hardcore firearms training. Because every once in a while, I mean, they're pro-gun for sure. They're 100% pro-gun. But every once in a while, they'll let something slip like that, like the whole, oh, you just pump that 12 gauge and they'll run out of the house screaming and that kind of stuff. And I'm just throwing that out there as an example. But they're good dudes. And today's watch the newspapers. There's no the what? You know what you need to watch? I'm going to give you guys a hint, and this is for everybody, not even just the grad program members. When you go into your favorite coffee shop, and I'm not talking just necessarily about Starbucks, but anywhere. Like, for instance, the roasted bean at the Beau Rivage.
Yeah.
They actually roast their own coffee in-house. Good stuff. The gift shop, most of the gift shops at the casinos and coffee shops and so forth, those are about and hotels, like what the Holiday Inn Express. Those are really the only places anymore that you will see the USA Today, because they give it away for free. Like in the coffee shops, they just leave it there, so they put the complimentary stickers on it so people can sit there and peruse it while they're drinking coffee in the morning. And of course, you're a captive audience when you're in the Holiday Inn Express, so they drop it in front of your doorway. Watch the front cover. If you want to know the current propaganda, because you're thinking to yourself, all right, Paul, I've listened to you before. I know all about ignorance, distraction, and guilt. If you want to know all about or have a heads up as to what the organized distraction campaign or the organized guilt campaign, if you want to know, take a look at Pravda. And for those of you that went to public school in the last 20 years and don't know what Pravda is, you need to get on the internet machine and duck it or Google it or whatever you want to do. And the reason I bring that up is because last week you guys know they don't print one on Saturday and Sunday, so they do a special weekend edition where they put one out on Friday and then they leave it on the rack from Friday all the way through Monday morning. And often, if I'm at wherever, like the Roasted Bean or something, I'm standing in line and I look over there and I'm like, it's pretty insulting. But one of the and I knew this was coming, and I saw it 2 or 3 different places, but it was a couple of weeks ago, standing in the line, look over at Pravda, and it says, police chases cost thousands of lives every year. And I was like, what now? Okay, I get it. I see what we're doing. What we're trying to do is we're trying to portray police departments and their policies to pursue felons, to pursue criminals as dangerous. And so they should stop doing that, right? Well, then, within, I would say, 2 days of me seeing that, I opened the computer, and how many of you have a browser and it browses through all these different news stories? Like you have a default, like MSN or Yahoo or whatever. Like, for instance, my phone wanted me to upgrade to the latest operating system here recently, and the phone, every time I turn it on, it would say, you need to upgrade to the latest operating system. You need to upgrade. I was like, God. All right, phone, yes, I will. Well, what it did is it installed a brand new news app. a news app. Well, it's a Yahoo news app.
I hope you deleted it.
Well, it's when you go to like when I open Chrome now on my phone, that's the first thing that pops up is the news app. Well, my point is this.
Do you need help making that go away?
Well, it actually was fortuitous that it happened because it's kind of like having a spy in the camp of the enemy.
Oh, yeah. I guess you're right.
Because within 2 or 3 days of me seeing that Pravda story about police chases, blah, 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 being dangerous, well, Yahoo News, one of their lead stories is police chases, deadly police chases, are they necessary? Or something along those lines. Folks, this crap doesn't happen in a bottle. It doesn't happen in a vacuum. When you see a story and you think, I'm just going to dismiss that because that's far too extreme or far too radical or far too whatever, or none of my fellow citizens are going to believe that, or that's just obviously stupid on its face. Be careful. Be careful. This stuff it's planned and it's deliberate. So what we've got now, in addition to, all cops are racist and yada, 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 is we have a campaign to convince you, to convince your neighbors, to convince your mush-brain neighbor Sally, or your wannabe reasonable coworker Phil, that, did you know that police chases every year kill thousands of people? Thousands of people every year are killed while the police are pursuing them. And then you raise your hand and you say, why exactly are the police pursuing them? Why are they? Oh, was it because they did something? Because they broke a law? They committed a crime, and they didn't break a crime, but they might have broke bad. And the police were trying to catch them. So say to your reasonable coworker Phil, so what you're saying, Phil, is that they should just let them go? Well, there's no reason to endanger blah, 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 blah. Well, here's what Phil doesn't know, because he's a mushbrain moron, is that there have been pursuit policies in place for decades. When I became a police officer way back in the early 90s, like 91, 92, we had a pursuit policy. And that we would not pursue beyond a certain distance. We would not pursue, and unless it was an active felony, Like for misdemeanors, if you had the description and the plate number and it was a misdemeanor, after a certain time, they weren't going to stop. You're like, okay, buddy, we know where you live, we know where you are. But the problem with that is, often you don't know for sure or for certain that the person driving the car that you're running the plate on is that person. It might be someone else. It could be a stolen vehicle. Now, if it was stolen and reported, great, you know. But what if it was stolen like 3 hours ago and the owner doesn't even know it's missing from the parking lot yet? I don't know. I don't know exactly. My point is this: police departments 25 at least. Do your math. 1990 to now is 25 years. For at least a quarter of a century, have had dedicated pursuit policies. I was out, working on more than one occasion where there was a pursuit, and the sergeant or the supervisor got on the radio and said, what's going on, da 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 da, and they told him, just break pursuit, just stop, we think we know where this guy lives, and it's just for a misdemeanor, so we'll go get him later. So you say, well, if that is true, Paul, since as being a police officer that agencies have in fact had pursuit policies in place for a long time in order to reduce unnecessary deaths and vehicle accidents and crashes, why would Pravda and why would Yahoo News, why would they be making feature stories about this? Jared, why do you think? You're a smart cat, while I take a sip of my really good coffee that we have here at Student of the Gun University.
Because they want to distract people from what's actually happening. And a lot of people out there that are listening are like, well, why should I even care? Because it's Yahoo News and they're liberal.
Yeah,
liberal
they're
idiots.
left-wing idiots.
Left-wing idiots. So why should I even care about this Yahoo News story, or why should I care about USA Today?
Yeah. Well, because you will have what they do. They'll gin something like this up in order to create a problem. They create a problem. And then once the problem is created, what you have is a person like little Chucky Schumer or their ilk who will come, or one who's in a safe district, like Maxine Waters, who's not going to get unelected until she dies, apparently, because the people of Houston are really that degenerate. So they'll have them trot out and come up with some new legislation or some new regulation or some new whatever. And they'll take these stories and they'll use them as source material. And they'll say, see, this proves that local police departments are reckless and negligent. And this proves that the Department of Justice and that the federal government needs to oversee them. And all the people out there who have had their heels dug in and have said, no, Paul, no, we're not going to allow the DOJ. This country was not set up so that a centralized government authority could oversee and would oversee local law enforcement. That's not how it was designed. And you're like, yeah, but didn't you see that local police departments are killing thousands of people every year in unnecessary pursuits? Oh, and they're all racist, and we need to have a pattern and practice investigation. And don't doubt me on this. Do not doubt me. I'm educated enough that I've been paying attention long enough to know that this is the case. And that's going to take me to it kind of really, 100% leads into the mentality behind our lead story. Now, this weekend, or this past weekend, I did a little bit of working out. I did a little bit of writing. I started writing. And that's the cool thing about SWAT Fuel and the 9mm Plus B, is not only does it help you stimulate your physical activity, but it stimulates your mental activity as well. Is that not true, Jared? Mark?
That is true. It's very true.
That is very true. That is very true. And if you want to try out some SWAT Fuel, you can.
If you have mental activity in the first place.
If you have no mental activity, then don't sweat it. Go to SWATfuel.com. Make sure that you use the promo code SOTG2015, and you're going to save 10% off your total order. All right, Velocity Triggers. You got a black rifle. They got a trigger for you. And I also had our two rifles this weekend, Zeus and Mars. I took them out and I put frog lube on the bolts, and I cleaned them up a little bit because I want to go back to the range and shoot those guns. And if you don't know who Zeus, and I'm sorry, not Mars, Ares and Mars, I messed up. I got my mythology wrong there. We built two guns. If you was it about 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago, we did custom build projects. We put Velocity triggers in them. We did Duracoat on them. And we used parts from the Brownells catalog, and we also used parts from our friend Dustin. And Dustin is up there at Element Arms, way up in the Great White North, and the new Luth AR stocks. They're very unique. If you know what we're going to do. I know that there's a lot of people that are listening now and that are following us on social media now that were not following us way back. I say way back when. What was like 3 months ago, Jared?
Yeah. It wasn't that long
way
ago.
Back 3 months ago. We'll take some pictures and put them back up on the Instagram and the Gun District and all that jazz. It's kind of cool. One's in 300 blackout and one's in 5.56. All right, Crossbreed holsters. What do? They make the most comfortable in the waistband holsters you're ever going to wear, and then once you do that, you put it on your body. You can carry a gun, and then it will be there when you need it, which is the important thing. How you doing over there, kid? I see you're looking very intently at your show notes.
Yeah, I'm trying to find, the story that we're going to talk about here. Mm-hmm. They created the reason this happened, so I'm trying to find something to back this up. To back up what I'm going to say.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to vamp for a little bit, or do you want to go ahead and go on?
Well, yeah, we can go ahead and go on.
Okay.
I can just say it whenever.
What we're going to do now is I'm going to have Jared play the audio from the news story, and then we're going to go ahead and consider it ourselves.
That detective earlier this morning, he said quite simply he chose not to use force because he didn't want to be accused of wrongfully shooting an unarmed civilian or using excessive force. Let's take it back to last Thursday when this detective was driving along and he saw somebody driving erratically on the interstate, decides to pull that person over and call for backup. He was on his way to go interview another witness for a separate robbery, so he was wanting to get on his way. Now, while that call was happening to backup, the suspect, according to police, 34-year-old Jannard Cunningham, gets out of the vehicle and becomes aggressive towards the officer. It's at this point the detective tells me that he chooses not to engage or follow policy of trying to get that man back into his car. It's that decision that nearly cost him his life. He says within seconds he was sucker punched. That suspect then takes the officer's service weapon and begins beating him over the head with it, causing a gash on his head that required between 15 and 17 staples to close. Adding insult to injury, making matters worse, people in the area saw what was happening and chose not to intervene. Instead, they took pictures and posted it on social media. And Randy, some of the comments are just plain out outrageous. One user offered the officer milk and cookies for his nap time. Another used a hashtag that we chose not to use here, simply derogatory towards police. The officer is at home recovering. He was released from the hospital, and that suspect was arrested just a few hours later. He's being charged with attempted murder. Randy?
So, Nick, let's get back to the fact that he hesitated. He admits he hesitated. What more is he telling you about this being a problem really across the country?
He says this is a theme going on right now across the country in local police departments where a lot of officers are beginning to second-guess themselves simply because of the narrative currently going on in the United States of unarmed people being shot by police. He gave us a statement earlier today, did not want to go on camera for safety reasons, but he did tell us that a lot of officers are being too cautious because of what's going on in the media. I hesitated, he says, because I didn't want to be in the media like I am right now. He goes on to say about local police officers, we don't want to be in the media. It's hard times right now for us. I appreciate everyone's support. I have a concussion and I'm still heavily medicated. Right now I need to focus on healing and getting better. We spoke to the head of the police union there in Birmingham who took it a step further. He talked about this hesitation by local police officers. And then, interestingly enough, he mentioned what this suspect said as to why he chose to beat the officer with his own service weapon.
He did hesitate, and that's what's happening across the country right now with the local level law enforcement. It's not that the officers are not trained, because they are. You know, we're well trained. It's just that the way that some media is covering and portraying the officers as criminals and the criminals as victims, we're hesitant and we're walking on eggshells to make sure we do everything the way that it should be. Not that it should ever be in question, but we want to be treated with respect or kindness, just as if anyone else would be.
Okay. All right. So that didn't answer to say why the suspects.
They cut the video.
They cut the video. Well, thank you for cutting the video on that story there, news channel, whatever. This came to us from what? It was, now my source is specialedition.cnn.news. Pistol Whip Detective says he didn't shoot, by Nick Valencia at CNN. Well, here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. You want to know what the deal is? I'm going to go ahead and tell you. I told you so. Oh, but nobody likes an I told you so. Well, maybe nobody does like an I told you so, but I freaking told you so. I've been saying this for years. For years and years and years. This crap has been going on since Rodney King. This crap has been going on every time police officers come up with a new tool. All right, I became a police officer when the the handheld stun guns were going out of favor and OC pepper spray was coming in favor. The handheld stun guns are crap. You guys know my opinion on handheld stun guns, and it didn't take police officers very long to figure it out. They're like, you know what, this stuff doesn't work. This is garbage. Let's get rid of these things. It's pointless. Well, the stun guns were going out and the pepper spray was coming in. And I remember this very, very specifically, how the big news media and the criminal apologists were all, calling the pepper spray cruel and unusual, and it was devastating, and those who, were pepper sprayed they had scars and blah, 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 blah. It was all crap. It was garbage. But, there's always been criminal apologists. It just seems like there's one in the White House today. So there wasn't one in the White House 90 years ago. Not 90 years ago, in 1990. Well, and I was also in the police. I was also a police officer when pepper spray started falling into not so much disfavor, but it was being largely replaced by the taser. And, when the taser started coming out, we had the exact same thing. Now, folks, do I believe that officers go to their tasers? There are officers who go to their tasers too quickly. Yes, I sure do. Do I believe there are some officers in America that go to their pepper spray or their guns or whatever too quickly? Yes, I do. There are reasons for that, but we're not going to talk about those reasons right now. What I'm telling you is that this is not new. It is just ramped up. And with the whole OC, taser, this and so forth, what we've got is we have a situation where rather than doing what they know that they should do, rather than focusing on their training and doing it the correct way, when the tasers came out, even before that, when the pepper spray came out, and you had news stories and you had these political hacks going on TV and what have you, talking about, how, the taser's cruel and unusual, and blah, 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 it hurts them too much, and pepper spray is cruel and unusual. What you had is officers hesitating to use those and ending up injured because of that. And today we have a nationwide campaign to cause police officers to second guess themselves. Even though, if you were to take them in a training facility and use the FATS machine, which is this super cool training deal with lasers and stuff, if you were to do that and you were to show them that scenario in training, a vehicle stop and a guy jumps out and he's like, F you motherfucker, blah, 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 blah. If you were to show them that in training, they would do it right. But now, in the United States of America, because we've instilled this fear that how do you expect a police officer to behave when the Michael Brown, the Gentle Giant case, it was reviewed inside out, upside down, and backwards. And the officer in question was 100% legally justified in doing what he did. There's no question about that in the minds of those that are not I don't know, tax slaves and socialists and scumbags. But what do we have? 1 year later, we have scumbags. What's amazing that CNN takes, did you notice, Jared, they take no culpability in this?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, man, that's really terrible. It's like, you scumbags are the ones that are perpetrating this. We read you last week, and we shared with you the stories from the CNNs and from the Reuters and AP and MSNBC, where on the 1 year anniversary of unarmed child, teen, Michael Brown being killed by a white police officer, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, that technically happened, but it was justified. How about thug criminal attacks police officer defends self? That was nowhere to be found. That was in none of the mainstream media news stories.
Mainstream memes, that's pretty much what they are.
Yeah, no kidding. So what is a police officer supposed to think? Like, you're 28-year-old Johnny Law, and you're out there doing your thing, or you're 38-year-old Johnny Law, or 48-year-old, or whatever, and you can read, you can hear, you see what's going on. You have a situation where an officer justifiably used force to defend his life and is still being crucified by the media regardless of the facts. 2 separate investigations, one locally, one in the state, one by the feds. They couldn't, in both cases, they could not find any reason to indict this guy. So what are you thinking? What you're thinking is, that could be me. I could do everything right, and the media is all set to crucify me because that's the cool thing to do today. Folks, this is the America that you purchased with your weakness and your apathy. Well, Paul, it's just about time that cops, police officers, that they pull back, and chilled out and quit being so aggressive and really? I'm going to ask you this. There, Johnny Reasonable there. If a thug is willing to attack someone that they know is an armed police officer, if they have no fear of attacking a police officer, what do you think is going to make them hesitate before they bust your skull open? An animal that is so brazen that they're willing to, be in the wrong. What did I tell you? Did I do it I think it was in the bonus hour, where I said that essentially the thug element, Comrade Barry has done everything except come out and say, open season on cops, do whatever you want. You get pulled over by a cop, first thing you need to do is fight.
No, he had Farrakhan do that for him.
Yeah, exactly. He had his minions go out and do it for him. The thug element of America has been told by the United States federal government and by the media and by their sycophants, by all their minions, the Farrakhan's and the Sharptons and the et al. They've been told, thug element, hey, we got your back. You want to kill a cop? You want to attack a cop? We want to burn a city down? Do whatever you want. We will make excuses for you. We will send the Fourth Estate. We will send our cheerleaders at CNN and Yahoo News and you name it. We'll send them out to make excuses for you. Don't worry. You can burn down your own city in outrage, and we will never call you on it. We will make excuses for you. So what do you think? You think the thug element in America is not emboldened? You say, well, sometimes the cop just got it coming. Yeah, okay. You know who's going to have it coming next? You and your family. If the thug element won't even hesitate to attack a uniformed police officer in broad daylight, what makes you think for 1 second that they won't crack your skull open, smash in your front door? Because they know if they smash in your front door, rape your wife, murder your children, there are people at CNN already have stories to make excuses for them. Yeah. That is the America that you're living in, that you bought and paid for, with decades of weakness and apathy. Oh, and reasonableness. You really wanted to be reasonable. The people on our side that are supposed to be on our side here during the Ferguson anniversary last week, when like 4 Oath Keepers and the media, obviously the media is in the tank. If you don't understand right now that the media is in the tank for the thugs, I don't even know what to tell you. We shouldn't even be talking now. Go somewhere else. If you can't get that in your mind, 4 armed white guys were acting as pseudo bodyguards for somebody from InfoWars, a reporter or something, right? And the media just had a hissy fit. Never mind the thousands of thugs that were out, committing just all, an entire laundry list of crimes in Ferguson. Never mind that. They were really concerned with the inflammatory nature of having, and they actually even said, having 4 armed white men in an all-black neighborhood. One guy actually said, he goes, it's already violent enough without them getting here, or it's already dangerous enough for us to be here without them being here. What? And the reasonable choir the people that are supposed to be on our side, I read the posts and the comments and so forth by people that are supposed to be on the good guy side. Well, those guys should have known better than to go there, or what did they hope to accomplish? And that kind of stuff gives the other side ammunition. So what should you do? So what we should do there, all you Facebook commenters, is hide. Go inside, lock the door, hope no one breaks your door down. Keep hiding. Someone asked me, they're like, well, what do you think about it? And I said, I thought there should have been a battalion. There should have been a full company at least, is what there should have been. This is the America you want to live in? You want to live in the America where the thug element is so bold and so brazen that every time they encounter a law enforcement officer, that they attack them and try to kill them? And mark my words, before this is all over with, someone will come out, many someones will come out and make excuses for this guy. They will. There will be excuses made for this thug. And you're like, well, the police officer didn't die. Okay. If I promise you're not going to die, can I take a metal object and crack your skull open? Well, you didn't die. I mean, sure, yeah, you had a concussion and brain damage, and they had to stitch your skull back, your head back together, but you didn't die, so, I mean, all's well that ends well, right? You happy? Happy? You liking this country you're living in? Folks, let me tell you what, if there was somebody that looked a lot like me that did a video about a year ago called ARTR, and I tried to point out the fact that the thug element, Jared, you know what's sad? Is last year when we did that story about the thug element being emboldened, I think they're more emboldened today.
Yeah,
I think
so
they're
too.
even. Did you see the story that I posted about the man of color that was so incensed by the Confederate flag that was hanging in the window of someone's house? It was hanging in their window, not even on the outside of the house. And he went up and I shared it on Twitter. He went up and pounded on the door and told them that he was offended. He was offended by that.
Don't look at
the
house.
They needed to take it down. So what they did was they took it and they moved it from the front window to like a side bathroom window or something, but that wasn't good enough for him. He was still incensed and angry. Beat on the door, and they opened the door, and they're like, what? And he told them how offended he was and that they needed to take it down, and apparently they told him no, to go pound sand. So he forced his way into the house and assaulted the wife and the homeowners. Why does a person think that being offended allows them to force their way into your house and assault you because they're offended? So you're offended so you can destroy people's property today. You can steal people's property today. Because why? Oh, I'm offended, and CNN said I have every right to be offended. The Department of Justice said I have every right to be offended. They're out there. Ladies and gentlemen, they're everywhere. In the entire United States. That we are living in bully nation. We are living in the United States of mob rule. Whatever the thug mob wants, they're being given. And if you're not a part of the thug mob, stand by, because you're next. Do you like that? Do you like living in the United States of mob rule? Well, what do you mean, Paul? I mean, what am I supposed to do? Do you know how to stop a bully? Jared, how do you stop a bully?
You beat their face in. You do it with force.
I was looking for fight back, but the answer I was looking for was fight back. You fight back. Do you stop a bully by having a conversation with them about their feelings? Do you stop a bully by, sitting down with them and asking them, why is it that you feel like you should be a bully? Is that how you stop a bully? Do you stop a bully by being even more timid and more afraid?
Give them a stream of pepper spray in their face, and that'll make them rethink they're being a bully.
They're not going to stop. The thug element in America is not going to stop. And here's the sad thing. I'm going to tell you, this is the reality of the situation. Your police are being hamstrung. The people that you thought were in charge of keeping you safe are not. And even if they wanted to, they can't. There's a little article that we put up on the Student of the Gun blog called Defensive Policing, where police officers across the nation are taking the stand back and wait, don't get involved stance, because if I get involved, then I'll be wrong. So why get involved? I'm just going to park over here, and I'm not going to be proactive. I'm not going to go out and look for bad guys. I'm not going to go out and make my presence known. Well, you're like, that's crap. Those officers need to be fired. Really? You think they should be fired? Why? Well, that's just crap. They're not doing their jobs. When they do their jobs, they get crucified. If they try and do their jobs, they get their skull split open, and people take photos of it and laugh about it on Twitter. That's the America you're living in right now. And the only way it's going to change, it is not going to change until you, yes, you. What do you mean me? Me? Yeah, you. The only way this nation is going to be saved and preserved is for you, your family, your community, your neighbors to stand up to the thug element. And you're like, well, I live in a good neighborhood. I don't encounter thugs all that often. Yeah, you do. You encounter thugs every day. You encounter thugs on CNN, on Yahoo News. You encounter thugs everywhere. People who want you to be subservient. People who want you to shut your mouth. People who make excuses for thugs. That's who you're encountering. And you're like, well, it's not affecting me right now personally at this very moment in time. So, I'll just go ahead and let it slide. You okay over there, buddy?
Yeah.
You're all right?
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
All right, good.
We're going to have to wrap up soon.
Well, I know that. All right, folks, I've got one more thing for you, and I'm going to throw this out there, and I want you to throw it out to all of your anti-cop friends. And you've got some. And your Baltimores, your Fergusons, your so forth. Did you know that the citizenry, the city council, the mayor, the whatever, did you know that you can disband your police department? What? Oh! I know cops all just crapped their pants on me and drove off the road. Listen up, hippies. You have a situation like a Ferguson, where the whole city is outraged. You go out and they go out and they interview everyone. Oh, police, blah, 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 blah. All right, cool. This is what I would say. Ferguson residents, go to your council members. They're all liberal Democrats, scumbags like you are. Tell them to disband the police department. Well, no, do it. Do it. Disband the police department. Those cops can get other jobs. Calm down, freaks. Now, calm down, freaks. It's time to let them stew in their own freaking sauce. You know what? You hate the police. Police is all racist. Police is blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. Be intellectually honest with yourself and tell your mayor, tell your council, demand that they Paul, they have to have law enforcement. Yeah, they can. The county sheriff can handle it. The county sheriff can hand out warrants and stuff. They'll have one cruiser that'll do like random patrols. They will technically have law enforcement in the area. Baltimore, great example. Police is all racist. Police, blah, 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 blah. And, Baltimore's having a record-breaking murder season because the police is all racist. Right? That's why? No, they don't want that. We want someone to blame. We want a boogeyman to blame. That's what we want. We want a boogeyman to pin everything on. That's what I would tell all these like anti-cop complainers. Say, dude, put together a petition to disband the police department. The mayor and the council can do it. They have the legal right to do it. And see how it works out for you. See how it works out for your city. At least be honest. You know, if you hate the popo and they're all thugs and they're all racist and they're all, blah, 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 cool. Get rid of them. See how it works out. Maybe it'll work out better. Maybe I'm like way off base. Maybe things will be great. Ferguson, Memphis, Louisville. Do I need to go on? Coming to a city near you? We need a nationwide blue flu is what we need. Go ahead, write me letters, puke faces. We need a nationwide blue flu. You're like, well, that's not right, Paul.
How else is it going to get fixed?
How is it going to get fixed? It's not going to get fixed now. That's like we're trying to put a Band-Aid on a stab wound and hope that it gets better. All these reasonable people, all your reasonable friends, all your friends who don't think it's that big of a deal. Yep. Dude, I'm so glad today that I'm not a police officer. I am. I'm glad for the experience. I'm glad that I had the background and the experience and the knowledge that I have so that I can bring it to you. So I'm not just another talking head on the radio who's, thinks. No, I've been there. I've done that. I sat in a cruiser in August with the broken air conditioning in body armor smelling like sour milk. Yeah, I've done that. I was going to tell a fun police story. I had one the other day I was telling your brother about. It was a funny police story. Did I tell you about the one where the woman wanted to know why the sheriff was at her house?
No. Okay,
here's a fun one. We'll wrap it up with this fun story. So I'm on patrol. It's afternoon, and I'm driving down like a side road, and on my left are some trailers, and on the right are some houses. And this woman comes out and she waves at me. So I stop. I'm like, hey, what's up? She's like, yeah, my mom said that yesterday that there was cops or there's like a sheriff's deputy or somebody that they were at the house, but I wasn't home. Do you know why they were here? And I said, no, but I can find out. Now, keep in mind, I was a municipal police officer, and this is a sheriff's department. So, I get on this super cool ninja object called the mobile phone, and I call the SO, and I said, hey, I'm standing here with this, I said, what's your name? She's, Sally Jones. I'm like, I'm standing here with Sally Jones, and she said that her mom told her there was a sheriff's deputy at her house yesterday, but she wasn't home. Why was there a sheriff's deputy there? And so the dispatcher, she goes, is she standing right there with you? I said, well, she's out talking to the neighbor, but she's right there where I can see her. She's like, we got a warrant for her. You want to go ahead and grab her and pick her up? I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm not doing anything right now. So she's there like, yeah, that'd be great if you could go ahead and do that. She's got an outstanding warrant. So I got out and I walked up and I said, hey, good news. I said, found out why the sheriff's deputy was at your house. She's like, oh, why, really? Or she's, oh, really, why? I said, because there's a warrant for your arrest. I need you to turn around and put your hands behind your back.
That was dumb of her.
And she's like, and this is the element that you're dealing with. She's like, I was afraid it was something like that.
Then why would you ask?
Then why would you ask me? It's like the curiosity was just killing her. She's like, I gotta know. She's like, yeah, I was afraid it was something like that. Yeah, it turned out that she had been arrested, had been bonded out, and had just decided she wasn't going back to court, so screw them. So yeah,
she knew.
So there was... Those are too easy. That's like, that's the fish in a barrel thing. I was like, all right, well, let's go to jail. And the sheriff deputy, they're like, oh, man, thanks. I appreciate it. Appreciate you hooking that one for us so we didn't have to do it. You're welcome. That's what I do. There you go. That's not even a joke. That's one of those like, come on. That's no one's. Yeah, they are. They are that dumb. Not all of them, but a lot. All right, finally, and we want to acknowledge our buddies Century Arms at centuryarms.com. Century Arms does indeed make the C39 micro pistol. They're so choice. You want to check one out? Go and check them out. Tomorrow we're going to talk about stuff and junk. We're going to talk about all kinds of nonsense, but we're definitely going to talk about the SWAT Fuel Fitness Talk. All right, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, we hope you enjoyed that one. Take it with you. I'll allow you. You can take it with you. Tell your friends. And be a student for life.